Boris is still in the intensive care unit in St Thomas's Hospital, where he spent the night. As you know, he's not, we're told, on a ventilator, but because he'd had difficulties, shortness of breath, which is very common, and had needed some oxygen to help him with that, it was thought prudent and best to take him there, and in the intensive care they've got that kit to hand should it be needed, but let's hope it's not. Now, obviously, we're all very shocked and concerned about that. He's not just the Prime Minister, but he's also, he's a human being. He's a father, a son, a fiancé, father-to-be. He's a friend to many of us. So, obviously, we're very concerned on a personal level as well. But the business of government is carrying on. We're working hard to maintain the policy which has been set out already. Dominic Raab will take over as the designated person who steps in when the Prime Minister is unavailable. So I believe that will move along smoothly.
And tell us, how has the Conservative Party reacted to the news of Boris Johnson's hospitalisation?
We too are obviously very shocked. I think what it proves is that this virus, this dreadful virus, is absolutely no respecter of anybody. Doesn't matter what your job is or what you do, it can strike you. And this reinforces as graphically as anything could perhaps the need for everybody in the UK and elsewhere to take the government's advice and stay at home. Best way to stay at home saves lives and it protects our health service. I know that's what you're doing in Gibraltar, same as we are at home. And we're all united in doing that. There's been a huge amount of support for the Prime Minister, and I think it's very moving and also, I think, a healthy sign that the leaders of all the opposition parties have said this is beyond party politics. This is a human being, but also the whole country needs the Prime Minister to get well so that we can join together in the fight to beat this terrible virus.
And can you tell us, Mr. Neill, how you yourself are keeping and how are the members of the All Parliamentary Group for Gibraltar?
We are keeping in touch with each other as best we can. Personally, I'm fine. I'm being careful. I'm at home, working from home, minimising the occasions when I go out to the government guidelines. Fortunately, we've got all the kit that, as I say, I can do my meetings remotely, same as I'm doing this interview. And I know my colleague Bob Stewart, the secretary of our group, and I were participating only yesterday in a conference call with our local authority that we both share together, and Bob's in good form and sends his best, as does our president, Sir Lindsay Hoyle, the speaker, who I've been in touch with, and of course our deputy chair from the Labour Party, Christian Matheson, and our friends and colleagues from the other parties, the SNP, the Liberal Democrats, and my fellow Conservatives.
First of all, it's the sheer shock to everyone. The one thing I can say is it is terrible news, and our thoughts and prayers from everyone across the House are with the Prime Minister and his family right now. We are wishing him a full speedy recovery. We know it's a very serious situation. The one thing that he did do when he was about to go into intensive care, he made sure that Dominic Raab was his deputy. He is the first Secretary of State. He is taking responsibility, and it is a very crucial time. We do know that governments do continue. That's the one thing we can reassure the people about, that government will always continue. Whatever it throws at it, no matter what crisis you go through, government will always continue. But it is about politicians coming together. It is about politicians wishing their best. And this is the best of politics. When you have to, people do get together. And that's what's so important. But it is very serious for Boris. He is a larger-than-life character. He is the big beast that everybody sees. Man that's full of energy. He's either on his bike, he's very fit, he plays his tennis, he does everything. So I think that's why it's a real shock. Somebody such as the Prime Minister, which shows you how dangerous this virus is. It can hit anybody at any time, and that's what's more worrying.
And can you tell us how you yourself are keeping?
I'm very well. I've got to say, feeling really fit and well. There was a bit of concern. I'd had a meeting with Boris before I went up on the Wednesday, but that's 2 weeks ago. Absolutely fit, absolutely fine, frustrated at home, having, working remotely is not something I like. I like being with people, being able to see people, which is more important. What I would say is that yesterday we had a commission meeting for Parliament, the first time a commission meeting's ever been done virtually. So that was something new for the House and something new that I went forward with. And it proves that you can work virtually. We've got select committees that are meeting virtually as well. What I would say is the House is due to go back on the 21st, and we will have to judge how bad it is, what the situation is, and how Parliament will work beyond the 21st. And I think that's important. It's no use saying this is what we're going to do at this stage. When we get nearer to 21st, we'll be able to decide what is the best way to work. How do we ensure staff are safe? How do we ensure MPs are safe? And how do we ensure that, quite rightly, that Parliament meets, whether it's virtual or whether it's in the House, that decision will be taken nearer the time. But what we do know is Parliament will continue.